Well, we're back in the kitchen again this week. We've got a lot of requests for recipes lately, so we're going to be doing another cooking video. This is made with rabbit, though, this week. You could substitute chicken, or you could substitute even quail, I guess, for this. But we're going to be using rabbit. We're going to be calling this Conejo Loco, or roughly translated as Crazy Rabbit. It was originally a chicken recipe called Pollo Loco, but we're going to be substituting rabbit for the chicken. So what I've got here is, it's going to go together pretty easy and pretty quick. We've got about 1.5 pounds roughly of rabbit meat that I've just cut off the bone and then cubed up into smaller pieces. We've got some adobo seasoning that we're going to be sprinkling over this. Now you could use adobo, like a store-bought adobo seasoning, or you could use a homemade adobo seasoning, which is what I chose. I made a homemade seasoning for this. I'll leave a recipe down below for the seasoning that I use for this. We just want to sprinkle just a little bit. We don't want to go too heavy on the seasoning. This is pretty potent seasoning, so, and we got a lot of other really flavorful stuff that's going to go in there. So I don't know, probably a teaspoon or so, and then I'm going to kind of pat this in a little bit, flip it over so I can get the other side. Now I got to wash my hands. Okay, clean hands. Now we're going to season the other side. I should have thought that out a little bit. But just, like I said, a light seasoning over it. Not super heavy, not super thick. Just a light seasoning. There we go. That should do it. So now I've got a Dutch oven over here. You could do this in a large skillet. I'm going to be doing this in my Dutch oven. I need 2 tablespoons of oil, roughly, and then I'm going to heat that up to a medium-high heat. Let me get that started and I'll bring you over here and we'll get a little bit closer view. Alright, well, I changed my mind. I decided not to use my Dutch oven because it doesn't set very flat on this burner. It's an induction burner, so it doesn't get real even heat because it kind of wobbles a little bit, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I changed my mind. We're going to do it in this big skillet instead. But that's okay. It's the same process, basically. So we've got our oil hot. That's just a couple of tablespoons of oil. We're going to add our rabbit to it. We want that to start sizzling. Now all we're looking for is basically to brown this rabbit meat. Shouldn't take very long. Separate that out a little bit. And again, you could do this with chicken or quail or whatever, you wanted to, but we're going to be using rabbit. Let this go for 2 or 3 minutes probably on one side. We'll do our best to flip it over and get it on the other side then. And that's what we're looking for, just to brown it on each side. Okay, so that's been about 3 minutes, so I'm just do my best to flip these all over. Thought it might be easier to do with a spatula, but now I'm not so sure. They don't have to be completely cooked through. We want to get them browned at least on all sides. And so another 3-4 minutes on the other side, and they should be good. Because they're going to cook a little bit longer. We're going to make a sauce, or well, we're going to put some rice and stuff in here and liquid, and they'll cook in there for about 20-25 minutes. So they'll be done all the way by the time we're done. But you do want to get them, try to get them browned on every side. Okay, it's been about 4 more minutes, so I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste to this, probably, I don't know, maybe 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. This gives us some good flavor. I think the original recipe called for tomato bouillon, 1 cube of tomato bouillon, but I don't have any tomato bouillon, I have tomato paste. So I'm going to spread that around a little bit, let that cook for just a minute, kind of cook a little bit of that strong tomato taste out of it. Smells good already, but I like the smell of tomatoes. So. All right, so now we're going to go in with a full, what is this, 10-ounce bag of this. This is the brand I'm using, Vigo Saffron Yellow Rice. So it should be pretty easy to find, but you need about 10 ounces of it. Sometimes it's hard to find an exact 10-ounce package. So if you have to buy a family pack, then go ahead and do that and just measure out 10 ounces of it, I guess. So this whole bag is going in. Along with 2.5 cups of water. Somebody's at the door. Max, hush. Hey, Max, that's enough. Leave it. I don't guess there's anybody at the door. There must be somebody walking down the street. The dog's decided to bark like crazy. He always picks the best time to do that. All right, I'm going to stir that around a little bit just to make sure that all gets mixed up pretty good. And then we're going to bring that to a boil. Give that just a minute to come to a boil. Okay, once that comes up to a boil, we're going to let that go for about a minute. Let it boil for about a minute, and then we'll reduce it to a simmer and cover it and let it simmer for 20 to 25 minutes roughly. All right, so that's been boiling for a minute, so we'll cap it off. We'll reduce it down to a simmer, and we'll let it go for 25 minutes. Or 20 minutes. Let's check it at 20 minutes, and then we'll see if it needs another 5. We're just basically checking to make sure the rice is done at that point. All right, I will be back with you for the next step here in about 20 minutes. Well, it won't be 20 minutes in the video. It'll be just a few seconds, but for me, it'll be 20 minutes. Okay, so there's 20 minutes. Let's check on the rice. We'll see how it looks. Looks pretty good to me. I think it's done. So let me turn off the stove, turn the heat off of it. Get this lid out of my way. Got to work around the camera. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, so the next step, we're going to be adding some, get my spoon, and my spoon's all stuck. Some white queso cheese. Now this needs to be, I don't know why, but it doesn't need to be the shelf stable. This needs to be the ones you get from the refrigerated section. I'm not sure why that makes a difference, but apparently it does. Calls for 3 ounces. This is a 16 ounce, here let me bang on that first, 16 ounce container, so roughly a quarter of it, which would actually be closer to 4 ounces, but hey, nobody's going to complain about a little cheese, right? And that should probably do it. So now I need to stir this through the rice. Hopefully it did not stick too bad to the bottom. It did not. That's good. Always worry about stainless steel pans and everything sticking in them. But it didn't do too bad. It did pretty good. Oh, one other ingredient I completely forgot. We need about 2 tablespoons of milk. Let me go get that. I guess I'll measure this out because I'm bad at guessing on liquids for some reason. So 2 tablespoons of milk. You can use skim, you can use whole fat milk. I'm using whole fat milk because I don't do skim. All right, again, stir this all up. I need to get it off this heat. Let me get this skillet out of the way. And then basically it's just a matter of stirring it all up. Spoon up a sample of this, give it a try, because my wife's gonna be home from work here shortly and I'll eat dinner with her, but we'll get a sample anyway to give it a try for the camera. All right, so let's give this a taste. This came together super easy. I mean, really the hardest part was cutting the rabbit meat off the bone and cutting it up into little squares. That was the hardest part, which was actually a little bit tricky, but let's give it a taste, see how it goes. It smells great. Yeah, that's very good. Could serve it maybe with a little bit of salsa. I can even see a little sour cream on it. That's actually really, really good. Stop eating so I can get this video closed out. Give this recipe a try. Tell me what you think of it. It turned out really, really good in my opinion. It would be good with, like I said, a little bit of salsa, maybe some sour cream, or I can see some cilantro thrown on there as well. Those would be good additions to it as well. All in all, though, it's good just the way it is, too. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the recipe. Give me a comment below. Let me know what other kinds of videos you would like to see me shoot. I haven't been good about responding to comments lately, but I do see them. So that's where I get a lot of my video ideas, because I've covered just about everything I can think of when it comes to how to raise and how to care for your animals. Recipes, more recipes I can do. You want more, whatever. Just let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, God bless.